I suspect you wouldn't, but feel free to interrupt if you have any questions. Why would I be interested in the board? On occasion, I ask myself that same question. Having been at the college since 1966, having been in the classroom, having been elected as a department chair for 35 years, having served on the regional assembly for the state of Michigan for Mahi, I've had quite a bit of experience in education. I've seen things that have worked. I've seen things that haven't worked. I think my education is beneficial. Went to the University of Detroit, Jesuit education, went to Michigan State, a lot of postgraduate work at the University of Michigan. I know how important the community college is to the county. I've been on the County Planning Commission for close to 50 years. Any employer, when they're thinking about building a plant, opening up a business, one of the things that they're particularly interested in is the education situation, not only for their own kids, possibly for their spouse, possibly for themselves, but also for their employees. So having been here at the community college, it was a pretty easy decision to decide to run for the board 6 years ago. Kind of as strange as it sounds, it takes a while to really get an understanding of the role of the board and how you deal with various aspects as a Board of Trustee member. Question number 2. Education is different than a traditional business. I'll never forget one time that we were in some pretty heavy-duty bargaining situations with administration, and they were dealing with evaluation, and we were having a difficult time coming up with what changes to make in the contract. And we flat out asked, well, who do you think is not doing their job? And about 2 o'clock in the morning, they came up with some names. And it was interesting because the next day at supper at Safi's, we happened to run into one of the instructors, or actually not with one of the instructors, but some of the students from one of the instructors that they were very negative in regards to. And we asked the students, who they thought their best instructors were, and it was unanimous, but this person's name came up from amongst the students that were at the next table. And we pretty much had to pick up the administration off of the floor because they were just shocked. But I think frequently it takes a period of time before even students have an idea of what is most advantageous in the classroom. We've got some challenges. State revenue has been less supportive of education at the community college level. The situation regarding Flint water is not going to help that situation. And the underfunded pensions is going to be a growing problem. And that's something that is obviously important to all faculty members. The current low interest rates are going to really exaggerate that situation. Obviously then this forces students to pay a larger percentage of the total expense. As educators, as trustees, we serve a lot of different masters. We've got employees, we've got staff, we've got taxpayers, we've got students, and it's not an easy position to be in. In regards to shared governance, I've had the opportunity to go through the mutual gains seminars process. I've seen shared government at its best and at its worst. I think the trustees have a growing understanding as a group that there is room for improvement. I think we're seeing that improvement with our current president. If you think back, even over the last year or two, some of the changes in administration, I think we have moved in a better situation. As far as being on campus, I was shocked when a previous president said that board members had to receive permission to be on campus. I think that said a lot about the president, not in a favorable light. I never bought into that concept. I think that's something that the board is very much responsible for. The board obviously is above the president, and if the president is afraid to have his or her superiors on campus, I think that says a lot. I have the opportunity, since I'm one of a couple of board members that signs checks over a certain dollar amount, approximately $6,000, so I'm on campus quite a bit. This past summer, John Ogden and myself and Deb were at the statewide trustee and president's conference. And this was a very popular subject. In fact, we had a panel discussion on what various community colleges are doing in order to get input from staff. Some of the community colleges, when a new person is hired, they have a board member that goes out, has a meal with that individual, lunch or supper. The employee is encouraged to contact that individual at any time, or other board members. But I think that sets a tone. I think that opens up a door for greater communication between the administration and the board of trustees, employees, and so forth.
May I ask a question to that, Bob? And you gave us that permission at the beginning to interrupt, and I appreciate it.
Feel free.
Coming off negotiations, I know that I'd like to know, was this particular meeting, this particular dinner, was that during the course of negotiations, or do you know what the context?
Well, that was after negotiations. That's pretty recent, right?
Because we extended, as you know, being on the board, the opportunity to the board to meet during the course of our negotiations to facilitate conversations. And we were told that because we hadn't been meeting, we are not to be meeting. So it was kind of an interesting conundrum to face that. So I'm encouraged to hear you articulate that, and I hope that situation will also occur during the course of negotiations if needs be.
Well, I know there's a significant percentage of the board that feels the way that there needs to be more communication. I think that Dr. Snyder would also support that. What's significant is sometimes good ideas can get even agreed upon, but then there's got to be that implementation. And I think the fact that, once we got through negotiations, and if we turn the camera off, well, I'd make a few comments on that, but which I won't with the camera on. But having written a lot of that contract, it was rather disheartening when you see the red ink through such a large percentage of that contract. But I'm very encouraged. I think we've got a good president. I think that one of the important aspects also is going to be that evaluation of the president by the board sets a very significant tone with the chief executive officer. And Kevin always basically demanded that the evaluations be open meeting. and I and a couple other board members are going to push to have a closed session for president evaluations. And I think that the board members are going to be more forthright on issues. It's a difficult position for a board member to be evaluating the CEO in front of the staff and in front of the community. But that means then that some words of wisdom just don't get passed on. And I think that that process is going to be changing. And if anybody's got any questions or comments, don't hesitate to let me know. But I think one of the biggest aspects has got to be more communication. Emails are available, phone numbers are available, and I think the vast majority of board members would welcome the communication. And I think we're going to be moving in that direction. As I mentioned, I think we've made major progress in hiring the right president. I think there's room for improving evaluation. There needs to be more active committees, I suspect, within the college. I myself am lucky because having been here in the classroom for 44 years, an awful lot of my students are in positions either for the city or for the county. So I think that we can, when we have ideas, I think we can get them implemented as far as the local community. Carl Tomian, a couple of the other county commissioners had in class. Anita Ashford, Sherry Armstrong, some of the other on the city council have had in class. And so they welcome comments. I think we're going to see more communication. The issue of televising Board of Trustee meetings, that's something I looked into a few years back. At least at that time, Comcast would cover most of the expenses of doing the TV. I think that that could be a significant marketing aspect if the Board of Trustee sessions were advertised. I think sometimes we forget that people in the South and people in the West kind of feel neglected. And I think if they could see what was going on by way of television, I think that'd be advantageous. So I think that's something that needs to be explored. I take the position seriously. I'm lucky because I've had a lot of people endorse me. Retired faculty, a number of people in the community, awful lot of the people in the business community I've had in class. I've maintained contact with them. Just for a kind of interesting question, how many people happened to catch the election supplement last Sunday in the Times-Herald? So we got a few, but did a half-page ad to kind of help get the word out. I got 21,000 votes 6 years ago. It'd be kind of interesting to see what the vote count is this year. I welcome questions, comments. John? Hey, first of all, where's your son working?
Gallagher Law Firm.
Lansing?
Lansing. He's getting sworn in on Thursday, so you won't
Congratulations.
See me. You won't see me here.
Do you know what the survival rate in law school is?
I've heard passing the bar. I've heard disparate figures.
Well, first of all, so many people drop out after a couple semesters, but yeah, that's so
We
congratulations.
didn't let them drop classes here. So. You mentioned challenges, Bob, in terms of Lansing economic challenges. I could be wrong on this, but if I remember a few years ago, the college even had a budget line item, I think, for a lobbyist or someone to make our case in Lansing. That didn't seem to bear a lot of fruit. What can be done in order to pry more money out of Lansing in terms of what community colleges need?
I think we've got to have more people meeting with our legislators. It's not going to be easy. I think trustees certainly have a role in that. John Ogden and myself are pretty active in going to Lansing. I think we need to get some additional board members, but I think we also, faculty members and students can be very, very effective. One time we were in Washington, D.C., and we had gotten a number of letters regarding the impact on students and families if they changed some of the scholarship programs, some of the loan form. And it was interesting because we'd go into an office, and one of the things that they spent the most amount of time on was reading through the letters, because it has a lot of credibility and they could speak directly to the question. It's not going to be easy. And our retirement, John, is a challenge. It's underfunded now. The low interest rates aggravate that situation. And when you don't have more teachers paying into the system, nobody would have suspected 20 years ago what high school graduations were going to be like compared to what they actually are at this stage. Other questions? We got 10 minutes. Sort of like class the first week. All right, well, I thank you for doing this. I'm optimistic. I think we've got some real good candidates, and I think that things are moving in the right direction. We just want to make sure that they continue that way. No questions, Robert?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.